Canada is a popular destination for international students and families who are looking for a good quality of life and high-quality education. The country is known for its welcoming nature, multicultural society, and robust economy. However, before planning to move to Canada, it's important to know about the cost of living in the country. In this article, we will discuss the cost of living in Canada for students and people with families, and how to manage the expenses. Part 1. Accommodation costs in Canada. The first and most important factor to consider when calculating the cost of living in Canada is accommodation. The rental market in Canada varies from city to city, and it can be expensive, especially in major cities such as Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in these cities can range from $1,500 to $2,500 per month. However, there are cheaper options available as well, such as shared apartments or student housing. For example, a shared apartment can cost around $800 to $1,200 per month, while student housing options can range from $400 to $1,000 per month. It's also important to note that the cost of accommodation in smaller cities or towns can be significantly lower than in big cities. Another option for students is on-campus housing provided by universities and colleges. This option can save money, and it also provides the convenience of living near campus. The cost of on-campus housing can vary depending on the university or college, but on average, it can range from $600 to $1,500 per month. Overall, it's important to plan ahead and do research to find the best and most affordable accommodation option that suits your needs and budget. Part 2. Food and grocery costs in Canada. The cost of food and groceries in Canada can also be a significant expense for students and families. The cost of food can vary depending on where you live and the type of food you prefer to eat. In general, eating out at restaurants can be expensive in Canada, so it's important to learn how to cook and prepare your own meals to save money. When it comes to grocery shopping, there are many affordable options available, such as discount grocery stores and farmers markets. These options can offer fresh and healthy food at a lower price compared to supermarkets. On average, a weekly grocery bill for one person can range from $50 to $100, depending on the location and the type of food you buy. For students who live on campus, there are also meal plans available that can be purchased through universities and colleges. These meal plans can provide a cost-effective option for students to have access to meals on campus. In addition, it's important to take advantage of coupons, deals, and discounts to save money on food and groceries. Many grocery stores offer discounts and loyalty programs for customers, and using coupons and buying in bulk can also help reduce costs. Overall, planning meals ahead, buying in bulk, and taking advantage of discounts can help reduce the cost of food and groceries in Canada. Part 3. Transportation costs in Canada. Transportation is another significant expense to consider when calculating the cost of living in Canada. The cost of transportation can vary depending on where you live and how you choose to travel. Public transportation, such as buses and trains, is available in most cities in Canada, and the cost of a monthly pass can range from $80 to $150, depending on the location. For students who live on campus, walking or biking can be a cost-effective option for transportation. In addition, many universities and colleges provide shuttle services to and from campus for students who live off campus. If you prefer to drive, the cost of a car can be expensive in Canada, especially when considering insurance and maintenance costs. However, carpooling and sharing a car with friends or family members can be a more affordable option. It's also important to consider the cost of flights if you plan on traveling back and forth between Canada and your home country. The cost of flights can vary depending on the season and the airline, but it's important to factor in these costs when calculating the overall cost of living in Canada. Overall, taking advantage of public transportation, carpooling, and walking or biking can help reduce transportation costs in Canada. Part 4. Other expenses to consider in Canada. In addition to the expenses discussed above, there are other costs to consider when calculating the cost of living in Canada. These expenses can include healthcare. Canada has a publicly funded healthcare system, which means that most medical services are covered by the government. However, international students and newcomers to Canada may need to purchase private health insurance until they become eligible for government-funded healthcare. Cell phone and internet. Cell phone and internet plans can be expensive in Canada, especially for data usage. It's important to shop around for the best deals and to consider using prepaid plans or pay-as-you-go options. Clothing and personal care. The cost of clothing and personal care items can vary depending on where you shop and what brands you prefer. It's important to budget for these expenses and to look for deals and discounts to save money. Entertainment. Canada offers many cultural and entertainment options, such as museums, theaters, and music venues. However, these activities can be expensive, and it's important to budget for them accordingly. Taxes. It's important to factor in the cost of taxes when calculating the overall cost of living in Canada. The sales tax in most provinces is around 5%, and income tax rates can vary depending on your income level and the province you live in. Overall, it's important to create a budget and to track your expenses to ensure that you can manage the cost of living in Canada. By planning ahead and taking advantage of cost-saving strategies, you can enjoy a high quality of life in this beautiful and welcoming country. Part 4. Healthcare cost. In Canada, healthcare is publicly funded by the government and available to all citizens and permanent residents. International students and newcomers may have to pay for private health insurance until they are eligible for government-funded healthcare. Here's what you need to know about healthcare costs in Canada for students and families. International students. International students are not covered by the public healthcare system in Canada and must purchase private health insurance until they become eligible for government-funded healthcare. The cost of private health insurance can vary depending on the type of plan and the insurance provider. International students should research and compare different insurance plans to find the one that meets their needs and budget. In addition to private health insurance, some universities and colleges offer their own health insurance plans for international students. These plans can provide coverage for medical services such as doctor's visits, hospitalization, and prescription drugs. Permanent residents and citizens. Permanent residents and citizens of Canada are eligible for public healthcare coverage. The cost of healthcare is funded through taxes and there are no out-of-pocket expenses for medical services covered by the public healthcare system. Medical services covered by the public healthcare system include doctor's visits, hospitalization, and most prescription drugs. However, there may be some healthcare services that are not covered by the public healthcare system, such as dental care, eye care, and prescription eyeglasses. For these services, individuals may need to purchase private health insurance or pay out of pocket. Overall, the cost of healthcare in Canada for students and families depends on their residency status and whether they are eligible for public healthcare coverage. International students should plan ahead and purchase private health insurance, while permanent residents and citizens can access public healthcare coverage without additional out-of-pocket expenses. It's important to research and compare different health insurance plans to find the one that best fits your needs and budget. Part 5. Taxes. Canada has a progressive tax system, which means that the more you earn, the higher your tax rate will be. The federal government and the provincial or territorial governments both collect taxes in Canada. For students and people with families, the amount of taxes you pay will depend on your income level and the province or territory you live in. In general, students who are working part-time while studying in Canada will pay lower taxes compared to full-time workers. This is because part-time workers typically earn less income and fall under a lower tax bracket. For families, the amount of taxes you pay will depend on your household income and the number of dependents you have. Canada provides various tax credits and deductions to support families, such as the Canada Child Benefit and the Child Care Expense Deduction. These programs can help reduce the overall tax burden for families with children. It's important to note that as an international student or newcomer to Canada, you may be eligible for certain tax benefits and credits, such as the GST, HST credit and the Working Income Tax Benefit. It's important to do research and understand the tax laws in Canada to ensure that you are taking advantage of all the available benefits and credits. Overall, while taxes can be a significant expense in Canada, there are many programs and benefits available to help reduce the overall tax burden for students and families. It's important to understand the tax system and to seek professional advice if necessary to ensure that you are managing your taxes effectively. Part 6. Cell phone and internet costs in Canada. Cell phone and internet plans can be expensive in Canada, especially for data usage. It is important to shop around for the best deals and to consider using prepaid plans or pay-as-you-go options. Here are some more details about the costs of cell phone and internet services in Canada. Cell phone plans. The cost of a cell phone plan in Canada can range from $30 to $100 per month, depending on the provider and the amount of data included. Many providers offer unlimited talk and text plans with varying data options, but these can be expensive. Prepaid plans. Prepaid plans can be a more cost-effective option for students and people with families. These plans allow you to pay for a certain amount of talk, text, and data up front, and once the limit is reached, the service stops until you add more credit. Pay-as-you-go options. Pay-as-you-go options are another cost-effective option for those who don't use their phone or internet services frequently. With this option, you only pay for what you use, and there are no monthly fees. Internet plans. The cost of internet plans in Canada can range from $50 to $100 per month, depending on the provider and the speed of the internet. Many providers offer bundles that include both internet and TV services, but these can be expensive. Overall, it is important to compare the prices of different providers and to choose a plan that best suits your needs and budget. Part 7. Clothing and personal care costs in Canada. The cost of clothing and personal care items can vary depending on where you shop and what brands you prefer. Here are some more details about the costs of clothing and personal care items in Canada. Clothing. The cost of clothing in Canada can range from affordable to expensive, depending on where you shop and what you buy. There are many affordable clothing options available, such as discount stores and thrift shops. These options can offer good quality clothing at a lower price compared to high-end fashion stores. Personal care. The cost of personal care items, such as shampoo, soap, and toothpaste, can vary depending on the brand and where you shop. Many drugstores and grocery stores offer affordable options for personal care items. It is also important to look for deals and discounts to save money. Haircuts and styling. The cost of haircuts and styling in Canada can vary depending on the salon and the location. On average, a basic haircut can cost around $30 to $50, while more complex services such as coloring and highlights can cost more. Gym memberships. The cost of gym memberships in Canada can range from $30 to $100 per month, depending on the gym and the location. Many gyms offer discounts for students and families. Overall, it is important to budget for clothing and personal care expenses and to look for deals and discounts to save money. By planning ahead and taking advantage of cost-saving strategies, you can manage the cost of living in Canada. Hope you enjoyed the video describing different costs good to know for students and those with family who want to live in Canada.